Welcome to Happy Hour with Coffee and Wine, the weekly radio show that explores trending business news and features dynamic interviews with extraordinary entrepreneurs. Broadcasting from Global Voice Radio every week on Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And now, here are your co-hosts, Irene Coffee and Karen Wine.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Happy Hour with Coffee and Wine. Your host, Irene Coffee, and our wonderful host, Karen Wine, won't be here today with us. Unfortunately, she is at another event, but I have an amazing, beautiful woman with us today, and she is the CEO of Global Voice Radio. So let me introduce you to this amazing, beautiful woman, Denise Joy Thompson. Hello, Denise, and welcome, and thank you for coming in and joining me today on Happy Hour with Coffee and Wine.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, Irene, and I know that what better way to spend part of a day unless it's happy hour.
I know, it's like great, we have so many amazing things to talk about today and to celebrate with you. I'm celebrating with you today with a beautiful cup of dark coffee. And I do have a sidekick with that, but we'll let everybody know about that. But yes, today is an amazing, beautiful day. And we are celebrating International Women's Month. And I know on your Global Voice, you've been interviewing, I'm in awe, first of all. I don't even know how to describe it correctly. But you've been interviewing some amazing women globally. Can you share some of those women with us and our viewers today on Happy Hour with Coffee and Wine?
Definitely, and thank you for mentioning your Global Voice, Voices of Women. In recognition of Women's History Month, which the United States observed in March, and International Women's Day, which is March 8th and sponsored by the United Nations, I thought that to honor and celebrate women, Global Voice Radio, through one of my shows, could honor, recognize, share from 31 women. So every day in March, we have been airing a show of different women from around the world.
And each woman, because I've been following it, and to our viewers, at the end of this episode, we'll give you all the links to jump on Global Voice Radio so you could listen to Denise's amazing episodes and talks. Each one has a different message and a different voice, which I found to be, like I said, I'm in awe because it's their stories and their message, and a lot of them have movements. So, I thought I heard it all. Obviously, I haven't heard it all. I'm in awe with the show and some of these amazing, amazing women. And, I laugh because, and Karen laughs with me a lot. Some of these names of some of these women are so beautiful, but I mispronounce them. So I know you, one of them, and I don't want to butcher her name. I really don't want to butcher her name, and I can't pronounce it correctly. So I won't, but her message was absolutely beautiful. I can tell you the day she aired. And I'm sorry to our viewers, but she just, you wanted to cry with her, you wanted to laugh with her, but her message was very powerful, and it stayed with me for the longest time. So Having said that, I want our viewers to know her name exactly. And you're probably going to pick up on it as well.
Well, and you know, Irene, one of the things that's coming to my mind is there were several, I mean, actually, most of the women that I've interviewed so far have all had amazing stories. But one of the women who comes to mind is one that I've just interviewed recently, and that was Sister Zeph from Pakistan.
Oh my gosh.
And wonderful story, and shows the resilience of women when we truly are living our passion, living our purpose, and you know that we truly see that we can change the world by educating one person at a time. And so Sister Zev has definitely made a significant impression on me. And
now, has she aired yet?
no, she is not. I know she's coming up.
Oh, I can't wait.
I know. You know, there was so many. The women are from different countries, from different backgrounds. But all of the women that I've had the opportunity to interview did not let the country they grew up in. Sholay, who was one of the first women that I interviewed, she actually aired, I think, on the 2nd of March. You and I were on the 1st of March. But she grew up in Iran. And she was very outgoing as a child, as a girl. And one of the things that her mother knew is that, well, she probably shouldn't stay in Iran because she wasn't the personality to want to live within the structure, the culture, the sort of oppression that women had. And so her message, and she's now lives in the United States.
Oh my gosh.
She has her doctorate degree. She came out of the corporate world. She's now a coach herself. And it was someone who, you know, when she was growing up, she didn't have the same opportunities as the boys had because she was a girl. And, you know, so there was several women from Slovenia, from Bulgaria.
Yes. There's one that I can't even pronounce her name. I don't know if it's Ellie, but I can't pronounce her last name.
Correct, because she has a Bulgarian name. Her true name is Bulgarian. And so I can't read her original name, right? Because it's in a different language.
Correct.
So she goes by LA. And yes, definitely, grew up in Bulgaria and went to the UK when she was 19. And she's very, very intelligent and understands technology. So she definitely was sort of ahead of her times in regards to what girls were able to learn and what they're able to do.
Oh, wow. I wonder.
So she's been living in the UK for a while.
Okay.
And she is now a coach, and she combines mindset, some life skills, personal development, along with marketing. And she's coming out with a book soon. Her book should be coming out in April.
Nice.
And that information is available during our interview when she and I talked. It's just amazing. Juliet, she grew up in Estonia, and then moved to Ireland. And at the time that she was growing up, Estonia was still part of that Soviet Union. So, she lived through several different things that a lot of us in the United States, unless you've lived in a foreign country, unless you've deployed with the military, sometimes we're very sheltered in understanding what happens in other countries. We see what's on the news, and we don't always know the facts from what we watch on.
It's true, because we can't handle it. We can't handle the truth. And just so everybody knows that Denise Joy Thompson is a colonel, so she definitely understands that very well. But she's also seen so much go on behind the scenes that we don't know. You've actually lived behind the scenes and had to handle certain circumstances during your time there. So you really have can see this firsthand.
Yes, and so it's been very interesting for me, having lived in third world countries, having been, deployed to war zones, having been in countries where women and children are oppressed and where they are not treated or respected necessarily. So talking to women who have lived through some of those things and what they're doing, what they've been able to accomplish despite, the barriers, despite lack of safety. I mean, it's just amazing. And I think doing this, 31 days of Voices of Women and sharing about them, I truly hope that women around the world listen, because women in those same countries will know that they also can move forward, that they are not necessarily stuck. I put that in air quotes, because of the difficulties, because they're seeing someone else in similar situations. And for the rest of us in developed countries, I think it can be an eye-opener to realize we sometimes complain about our businesses aren't growing fast enough, or maybe we don't have the right equipment, or we don't have something else. But we're in countries that you have reliable electricity, unless there's a storm or a hurricane. You have reliable water. You live in a house. So yes, our lives may not be perfect. They may not be that dream that we've created, but we're working towards that. But when we understand what it really means to fight for your life and to fight against a government and a culture that has been that way for hundreds of years. So, I mean, I know, and firsthand, you've seen the women's marches in the States. We know that things need to be different here, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
I also think that sometimes we don't realize some of the things we do have. And
Correct.
So grateful for those things, continue to educate and bring awareness to things that we might want to change here in the U.S., in a developed country. But I think we also can help women in underdeveloped countries. And in some ways, that's what my interviews are doing. They are sharing voices of women in other countries so that we're bringing awareness.
And they're so inspirational. It's, I'm lost for words. And it's, I use this, it's a roller coaster, because, we all live in our bubble here in this country, because we're so used to having certain things, or we have access very quickly to certain things. But it is amazing how and inspiring their journey, and just listening to their message is, I'm lost for words, Denise, on a lot of your interviews. They're amazing. And I would love to meet all these women that you've been interviewing live. And I know that's something that we will be talking about shortly.
And I think that, there is an opportunity to do that. To have people come together and be part of, even if it's part of another large organization that we're sharing voices through.
Agreed. I was talking to one of the people that's in the next issue of We Are Beautiful Entrepreneurs. And, my voice was, yes, we've come a long way, baby, as women. Our little tagline from an old cigarette advertisement, but we're not there yet. And we're not there. I mean, some of us have major messages and voices, and we are leading, but we're not quite there yet. And I think as a whole community that you're building, and we're all starting to be a part of your big community, I can see us getting there. So I applaud you for the work and helping these amazing women get their messages out and joining in on their movement. And what an amazing platform you've given all of us to get their message heard.
And Irene, something that you said struck me when you talked about being a leader. And the other day in a Facebook group, someone asked, if you are a leader, are you always a leader? And I said, yes. I mean, once you have taken the lead, per se, once you have stood up, shared your voice, in some ways you can't take that back.
Agreed.
You are a leader. Even if you follow someone else, you still are a leader by your presence, the essence, by the ability that a person has to stand up and share a voice. And so in some ways I see you as a leader. You have established yourself as a leader in creating platforms for women and men to be seen, to be read, to be heard. I guess in some ways, because of what I've done in my life and in my military career and what I'm doing now, I'm a leader. That doesn't mean I have to be in the forefront 100% of the time. It means I have to recognize I've now stepped up. So it's almost like I have to maintain that persona, right? People know me. People know you. So in some ways, we can't just say, oh, well, I'm not going to be a leader anymore, and I'm not going to share my voice or anyone else's, because we're already doing it.
Yeah. And I can't see us turning back and not doing it, because we are very emotional and powerful women, that we have a passion in what we do. And I think that's a big part of it as well, is that's your passion, that's your drive. And it's beautiful. That's the only way, the perfect word I can describe in what you do, because I'm in awe with everything that you do. And a lot of people don't realize everything that you do. A lot of people don't realize, yes, you are a colonel. Yes, you're out there, but you're also a business owner. You're a CEO of a company. And from being that, you've taken that on to you're leading so many people and allowing them with new platforms to have their voices be heard and seen and read. So I applaud you. I'm in awe with you and everything you're doing. It's like you're a multi-entrepreneur, and you're very good at it. And I'm proud of you.
I appreciate that. It's good to get positive feedback and reassurance, because sometimes when you are a leader, when you're doing things, then sometimes that is also an opportunity for individuals who don't like what you're doing or who think you could maybe do things differently, which feedback can come in many ways. And I don't discount information I receive from others. I look at it and I try to figure out what is going to help me and what is not coming from the heart of an individual per se, but it's coming from maybe their lack or their issues. And so I try to learn from what people share with me, whether it seems negative to me or whether it's positive, because I think also a sign of a good leader.
Yeah, and that's what I was just going to say. That's what makes you a good leader, because a lot of other voices out there will take that very negative. And being a good leader that you are, you just showed and explained to a lot of people how you handle it, and that's marvelous. That's the best. It's not, there's no best answer, but that's the best way for you to handle certain situations, because you look at the negativity and you make it into a positive, and you handle that negativity correctly. If Karen was here, she would say with etiquette, with decorum. You handle that with decorum instead of lashing out and such the negativity. And it's easy, and you and I discussed that in a few different areas. It's easy, and it's very easy to get negative, to go into a depression, and you want to breed that, but you stopped it. You stop it right in its footprint, so it doesn't escalate. So that's not a lot of people can do that.
Well,
That's amazing.
One of the things, Irene, and this is also in some ways an area in my life in which I am a leader, is when I had the idea and then created Live in Gratitude Daily, which thank you very much for being the publisher.
Oh, but that book has, I think, changed my life, your life, and
all the co-authors. But, in some ways, by creating that, by putting it out into the universe, by having our public Facebook group, I truly need to live, even though I'm human and I have my moments, I have to live that Live in Gratitude Daily lifestyle, because I'm sharing it with other people. I want them to see how it can help them and how it can change their life. And I know it has changed lives of people who have read the book, because they've contacted me, they've shared with me. And that doesn't mean that we don't have emotions. It doesn't mean that we don't get sad. It doesn't mean that we're not upset with someone or something in our life, but it's how quickly can we go back to the positive interpretation or a positive perspective, or just looking at the facts of a situation and not getting caught up in a negative emotion. So I sort of feel, and I love to live in gratitude daily.
yes,
I also have put myself in a situation of, well, am I walking my talk? And I try to do that daily.
and you do, because this group, Live in Gratitude Daily, I abbreviate it, so I do apologize, everybody. Live in Gratitude Daily is, an amazing group. It's such an amazing group out there, and if you can get the link on Facebook and join this group, it's supportive, very supportive. And no one's in there trying to sell anything. I love that. We're all here to live in gratitude daily, and so many messages from some of the co-authors and even people who've joined the group. What a big transformation it's made on me and others in this group, as well as, yes, I am a co-author in the book and the publisher, but it's brought me beyond that. So, and every day I try very hard to live in gratitude daily. And it is a challenge at times, and then you go to another group and, it becomes very negative in that group. And then it's like, okay, I don't want to be in that group anymore. And then I'll go back into Live in Gratitude Daily, and I'll listen to some of the videos. And I know you post in there live every single day. God bless you. And you're beautiful with that. You have an amazing community in Live in Gratitude Daily, and the voices, and these amazing people, who are getting their message out, who struggled through, stage 4 cancer and are still alive today, who've overcome a loss in the family and have such a supportive group. That group has, for me, and I know for many others that are in this group, help them. And you do walk your talk. So don't ever doubt you in any way. You are a leader through and through. And I'm very proud of you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You know, absolutely. So to live in gratitude daily, everybody, cheers. And if you want to get that book, which is fabulous, you can purchase a copy online on Amazon. So we will give you all the links at the end of the episode today with Denise and I. So Denise, you spoke about Sister Zeth. Is that correct? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes.
And I also know that you had spoken to a few other women. But tell us a little bit more about Sister Zeth, because I'm dying to listen to this episode coming up.
Wow. Sister Zeth lives in Pakistan. And
now, when you say Sister Zeth, is she a nun?
No,
Okay.
that is what she's called.
Oh, okay.
That's her name. And I didn't ask her specifically, but she possibly has gotten that as being a teacher.
Oh, okay.
So I guess I didn't even think to ask her about that. So she's been a teacher for 20 years, but she was working a job 8 hours a day, and then she would teach for free children who would come to the courtyard of her house, and she would then teach them for 5 to 6 hours. And they would sit outside.
Oh my goodness.
And, so if it was raining, they would get wet. If the sun was out and very hot, they would be very hot. And so it was just several years ago that she actually had a building to then create a school where the kids from 10 villages come in. Some of the children will stay with friends or other relatives several days a week to go to school. But if you think about a woman from Pakistan 20 years ago, providing education to children, it wasn't something, and she's also a Christian, which only 1% to 2% of people in Pakistan are Christians, right? So she's a minority in regards to her religion and her beliefs. She's a minority in regards to her gender. And she was doing this because it was her mission. This is her purpose. And she and I sort of talked about the purpose from, God, spirit, and universe. And so despite being threatened, despite being beaten, being told to stop, she has not done that. And so her school has grown to over like 100, 150 students, and she's helped people to get jobs. She teaches people to become beauticians. She teaches, the school now has skills centers so that women, once they, graduate from being a girl and a teenager in the school, now as a young adult, they can learn skills to be able to get jobs.
Oh my God, that's amazing. What an amazing.
Has a network of teachers from around the world that will teach different subjects. I mean, it's just wonderful. I mean, I'm like, I want to come visit,
Oh, well, if you come, I want a video and I want to go.
Yes.
I'll carry your luggage.
Yes, and she does receive support, and there is a fundraiser coming up in April. Actually, a organization out of Pittsburgh. I'm actually going to be attending that weekend event.
Great.
So I will be meeting one of Sister Zeth's staff, Malay, and she will be in Pittsburgh. And so I'll meet some of the other women also, because books, chairs, supplies for the school has been sent or paid for through donations of different women here in the States. So
that's amazing. Well,
yeah,
you have to let us know so we could also get our voice out there to our listeners to see if some of their organizations could help support, because education is very, very important, regardless who you are, where you live. Um, it's very, very crucial today and today's economy.
Right.
I'm a firm believer everybody should be educated and, not just pass through the system.
Right.
But
Well, and there's two other women on my schedule. Rebecca from Kenya has been working in the area of community development.
ooh,
And she and I had a conversation the other day as we're scheduling her interview, and she visited a village where one of the women had started growing coffee beans, and so now she's creating coffee, and we actually can buy the coffee here in the States. So I'm going to go ahead and see how how they're actually selling that.
oh my God! Well, you better get me that information, because I
Yeah.
am the coffee queen here. I need that.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, and they receive, micro funding. Some of it comes from community development money. Some of it comes from the United Nations. And then Laura Sen from Camaroon also does some business development with small businesses and looks at agricultural, growing vegetables, growing crops, those sorts of things. So these are women in other countries who are working very hard to help other women to become financially secure. So it's just amazing
oh my God!
what these women are doing. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Now, you recently interviewed Carol Davies, who worked with the UN, I believe, or am I?
Yes. Carol Davies worked for the United Nations both in New York and then also in Geneva, Switzerland. So, and in talking to Carol, because she knew about International Women's Day firsthand because of her working with the United Nations and understanding how much, which again, I think sometimes in the US, we don't pay as much attention
Oh,
to
absolutely,
what's going on in other
absolutely.
countries. So her interview, it was very interesting to discuss some of the things that the funds that go into the United Nations and then are given in grants to people in underdeveloped countries so that they can create a living, right? That they can grow crops, that they can have goats and they have goat milk to sell and they can have goat cheese. And so it's amazing with a small amount of money in these underdeveloped and third world countries, it can buy a lot because the costs are lower in those areas. But sometimes they need that initial seed money, per se, to grow their crops, to raise livestock and things like that. So it's just amazing what's happening. Yes.
Now, that was an amazing episode. Now, so for our viewers who are just tuning in, today I am with Denise Joy Thompson, the CEO of Global Voice Radio Station. And we're talking and letting everybody know about International Women's Month. And we're discussing a few snippets of the people that she had interviewed on her own radio show, Your Global Voice, Voices of Women. Did I say that correctly, Denise?
Yes. Your
Okay.
Global Voice, Voices of Women. Yes.
Of women. So, no, that's amazing because, a lot of us, and you're absolutely right, we don't pay attention. We just grab snippets of everything. And it's hard, but, that's how I know Carol works Davies, who also has her own show. I just think it's amazing. It's amazing because, you're bringing together such an amazing community of women and their voices this month that I feel our viewers should listen to all of it, reach out and see how we as women leaders can help and support. And even with our knowledge, even though we're, abroad, overseas, one great thing about the internet, you can reach out and touch someone.
Yes. And, when you're talking about Carol Davies and her show is Only the Best for You on Global Voice Radio, think about, I don't know that I ever would have thought that I would have a host, Carol Davies. She's from Canada. She's now a coach, but she worked for the UN. And then I would think of, for March, I want to do this special series of interviewing women from around the world. And it's in March, and we have International Women's Day. And then it's like, Carol, you can talk firsthand about the United Nations and International Women's Day. So, I mean, how can you plan these pieces of the puzzle coming together? And so it's just amazing.
Yeah, like I said, I am in awe because I'm lost for words, and it's funny because I'm recognizing different women for our different publications. So, and we're honoring and celebrating them. And it's like, oh my God, and not, and, you know, it's just amazing because you don't really know someone and what they really do until you interview them. And I'm in awe. It's like this month is just one celebration after the next. And yes, I know St. Patty's Day and all of that, but it's truly an honor and for this month because it's allowing us to interview and see women in different light. And I'm just in awe. I'm in awe.
And one of the things I wanted to mention was one of the other individuals that I interviewed, and she also is a host with Global Voice Radio. Hannah Edwards is from the UK. She lives near London. But she had found a while ago, she had bought this, what we would call a shirt or sweatshirt, I think, but they call it a jumper in the UK.
Yes, they do call it a jumper.
Yes, and we've seen her jumper. She loves the jumper, but it is the slogan or phrase, "The future is female."
Oh, I love that.
I know, and I love that also, and we talk about it in Hannah's show, but the point is, not in any way are we negating men in general. Now, there are some men that we know do not support women. They have been perpetrators, and we need to treat them as criminals, right?
Right.
If you committed a crime, you're a criminal. And that does not mean that all men are against women.
True.
There are many men that are supportive of women, and we need to work with them to create the changes that we want to see, not only in the US, Canada, the UK, but in these underdeveloped countries. And so by women being collaborative and cooperative together, we then can bring men with us to a common goal. But we as women need to come together. And so the future is gender equality, men and women working together to identify what needs to be changed in the world.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you 100% on that. 100. Actually 200% on that because it is, first of all, I love her jumper. And if anybody jumps on Hannah's Facebook page, it's Hannah Edwards. She is proud wearing that jumper. But I agree with you. We, as a community, as to unify ourselves, we really need to come together. And women as a whole need to, and please, our viewers, we need to come together and get rid of the negativity and work together to establish ourselves as leaders in no matter what we do. So what are you drinking today, my dear, since my co-host isn't here and we're coming to a close? What are you drinking today?
Well, I haven't quite started imbibing for my happy hour.
Oh.
But I may have a glass of wine or I might have some Crown Royal. So
ooh, I like both.
So we'll see what the early evening brings.
Oh
And,
no, I have Irish Bailey cream next to my coffee. So before I pour it in and do a cheers to all of us and wish everybody happy St. Patty's Day. And I love celebrations because even though you might not be Irish descent, everybody becomes Irish that day and celebrates in a nationwide here in the U.S. and I guess globally as well. St. Patty's Day, so everybody has a piece of history that they celebrate.
right, but I also want to mention in honor of Women's History Month and International Women's Day, March 17th is also the Feast of St. Gertrude.
Oh.
Who is recognized as the patron saint of cats and cat lovers.
Oh my God, I love it.
So,
I'm a cat lover.
Yes.
I
So
am
we
a cat.
also are celebrating her also, besides March 17th being St. Patrick's Day. So.
Oh, amazing, amazing, amazing. Well, Denise, how do people get a hold of you if they want to set up, have their own voices heard on your radio station? How do they get a hold of you?
Well, the best way to know what I am doing is to join our Facebook group, Global Voice Radio, because I'm posting in there every day. You can post a message and say, hey, Denise, contact me. But also friend me on Facebook, Denise Joy Thompson. Send me a private message. If you want to email me, you can email me at denisejoy@globalvoiceradio.com.
Great. So I loved having you on today. And this isn't the last time, everybody, you have heard from the CEO of Global Voice Radio. Our beautiful Denise Thompson, she'll be on in future issues. You can catch her own show, Your Global Voice. And please jump on and catch her show while it's airing. It's airing every single day. Your Global Voice, Voices of Women, on Your Global Voice Radio. I'm like, okay, no. And so if you don't catch her live, you can always catch the replay. And she posts them daily, and all our other co-hosts on Global Voice Radio Facebook page. So I thank you for joining me today and filling in for our Karen. So until next Friday, everybody, at 3 p.m., Happy Hour with Coffee and Wine. Your co-hosts, Irene Pro and Karen Thomas. We'll catch you next week.
Thank you for joining us. Listen in every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to Happy Hour with Coffee and Wine. Connect with us via email at coffeewinehappyhour77@gmail.com. Tune in next week for another edition of Happy Hour with Coffee and Wine, Global Voice Radio, where your message and your voices are heard.